Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to something I've been planning on doing for a long time, which is my favourite goals that I've achieved during the 2015-16 football season on FIFA 16. Now there's not a huge amount of variety, a lot of these goals can be considered as being quite lucky, but the first I would say is probably the luckiest I got. It's a standard Ultimate Team game where the ball pings off of Sergio Aguero, I think, and Diego Costa just chips it up over the keeper. Now this is on my BPL Ultimate Team, which I had playing in 4-1-2-1-2 wide formation with Diego Costa up front with Sergio Aguero. And as you can see, the sort of ping of the ball off of the other forward there did kind of land to him exceptionally, fortunately, shall we say. And so you could say I got somewhat overly lucky with how I scored that goal. But even still, the reaction speed and technical capability of Costa in scoring that goal, I think, was just outstanding. It really was something else. I've never seen him do that on any game I've ever played with him. He's a good striker, but you come with what you may. The next is from a French player, Tremolinas, who's a left-back. And this really surprised me. This was in the draft, and the ball comes out to him from a corner, and he just bangs it in from outside the penalty box. And sure, he did get a bit of a rebound, or sort of like a little bit of a help from the bounce of the ball, but even still, considering the fact that he's a left back, and you know, yes, this is with his inform card in the draft, so he's got decent enough stats, but he's a left back. You just don't expect him to do that, do you? I mean, look at this. The ball comes out from a corner after a header. He runs forward, almost gets tackled, and then just bangs it in from like what must be 25 yards out. It's a truly superb goal. Then back to Ultimate Team leagues with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang on my Bundesliga Ultimate Team squad, who just bangs in that absolute super goal of a strike, almost top corner. He scored a lot of goals for me like that this season, even though he isn't the most tankiest and most prolific sort of forward in terms of like strength and power. He's just been absolutely outstanding, outweighing all of that with his sheer speed. And another one who's been doing that is whenever I've got him in the draft is Gareth Bale from Real Madrid. This guy scored a bizarre goal in this draft match I played, where you were 1-1 after extra time. The ball comes out to him, and he just does some crazy reaction speed volley there from when it's headed out by, I think that was PK there, and look at that. I mean, it's not the flashiest goal, sure, but it's quite technically impressive, I think, for just how quickly he managed to react to it. One player who has been just all-round good, though, for me, and that I have used a bit more regularly than Bale, is Müller, who's on my Bundesliga Ultimate Team squad there. He's been scoring them in so many times for me this season, and that goal there isn't the most flashiest or most impressive, but considering the fact that he was being pulled at by two defenders, I think it just shows how much of a technically gifted player he is. Costa, on the other hand, isn't as technically gifted, I would say. I mean, I've been using Müller in more of a number 10 role, and Costa is a more out-and-out striker, but even still, this goal from Costa in another BPL league game was just outstanding. Usually when I've used my Premier League team on Ultimate Team, I've used Costa up close as like a tank sort of striker. However, here he just snipes it in from outside the penalty box, almost gets it top corner, but not quite. However, it's still an absolutely superb goal. Next up is a player I only got recently, actually, which was Marco Reus on my, again, Bundesliga team, playing at left mid. And this guy has just been outstanding. And this was the first goal he scored for my team. And just look at that. It's a really awkward angle. And considering the fact that he's hit that with his right foot, and he's a left mid, just outstanding. It's just outstanding. The guy is an absolutely superb left mid and forward. He is just brilliant. And to be honest with you, probably the most prolific player, more so than Royce or a lot of players I've had, is Costa. Müller is probably the best player I've used so far on this FIFA, but Costa has banged in a lot of different types of goals for me. This one here, where he's just dribbled it past their entire defence, and then somehow managed to score there, when I really didn't think it went off the line. I mean, he gets kind of brought down by the keeper, not quite though, because the keeper did kind of technically get the ball, and then Costa somehow swings his body while he's on the ground and pings it off of the crossbar into the goal, or like just behind the line, and somehow gets the equaliser after we went 1-0 down. I'm not entirely sure how that happened. If I remember correctly, I think we went 2-1 down and then we equalised 2-2, so this game ended 2-2 apiece. But even still, that was a bizarre equaliser to score, but I was nonetheless grateful for it. A goal from a player I didn't expect, though, was this goal from in a couple of matches later with Cesar Azpilicueta, Diego Costa's Chelsea teammate. Runs to the outside of the penalty box just after a corner comes in and just rockets it in. Again, kind of like with the match where I played with Tremolinas in the draft, this this season's game with my Premier League Ultimate Team squad was just a joy to play. I think we ended up winning something like 3-2 or something like that. But that goal from Tremolinas is just something else. And then later on, about 20 or so minutes later, he scored another super goal with Aguero. Aguero, of course, being a player you'd more commonly associate with being a prolific goalscorer, as he's a striker, whereas, of course, Azpilicueta's a left-back. And this is in the second half, where we are powering forwards, and I just decided to just just have a pop. And of course Aguero is probably the most gifted and technically prolific sort of striker in the Premier League, but even still, that was something else. I mean, he was being pulled out by at least one defender, and he just smashes it in like a real superhero. But if there's any glory I had to rain down on Costa and Aguero as strikers, I also have to give plenty to Robert Lewandowski, the Polish striker for Bayern Munich, who's been playing on my Bundesliga team. And I've been having him for most of this season, and this is soon after I got his upgraded card, where he just smashes it in, top corner. Quite a sort of peculiar angle, but even still, he's just beaten two defenders and the goalkeeper to smash in top corner. And you've got to give the guy credit. I mean, even if you're a Dortmund fan. But another sort of Munich player who's been just giving me absolute joy to play with is Müller. The guy is slightly, you know, more nippy than Lewandowski, but he's pretty much as technically gifted. And there you can see he's putting in another top corner smash. Not as far out as Lewandowski, so you could say it's technically not as impressive, but even still, the guy has to, like Lewandowski just did, bang it through like two defenders and the goalkeeper, and he still manages to get it in the top corner. And considering the fact that I had Müller playing as the position of centre attacking mid for most of the season, I thought that was particularly impressive. But here's one where I wasn't particularly impressed by it, because it's an own goal by one of my centre-backs, Matt Hummels, who's just moved from Dortmund to Bayern Munich in real life. As you can see, the ball is played through by their winger, and Neuer tries to kick it out, and it somehow pings off I thought it pinged off of Ibrahimovic there, playing on the opposite team, and then it goes into the back of the net. But it turns out, as you can see there, it kind of bounced off of Hummels' arm. And I was furious about that. I thought it shouldn't have been allowed because it was clearly a handball and it was a mistake. But it was made up for a little bit by this goal later in the game by Aubameyang, who, you know, dribbles past and, you know, just, what was that? I mean, sorry, my mistake. It was actually Douglas Costa who was dribbling it past. He shoots, and it probably wouldn't have gone in. But then Aubameyang somehow absorbs the ball into his body and then flings it with an insane amount of power through the power of his foot. Just look at this again. Douglas Costa dribbles through most of the defence, shoots it, it somehow goes inside Aubameyang's butt, and then he just blasts it in with such power. I mean, the flying fuck... I'm still baffled by how that goal happened, or how Douglas Costa didn't just go and punch Aubameyang for stealing his goal. I mean, it was bizarre, really. This goal from Lewandowski a couple of games later wasn't as bizarre. It was a very intense game, actually, between me and a very, very good Liga BBVA team on Ultimate Team. I believe I ended the game either 3-3 or they won 3-2. This goal from Müller was just superb. He bangs it in off of one of the posts, and it bangs in off of another post at a lower angle, and it's just the perfect humiliation goal. For a second, I thought it wasn't going to go in, but then it did, and I was just overjoyed, really. This goal from Boateng, however, I thought was proportionally more impressive, because keep in mind he's a centre-back, and you'll see why I enjoyed it so much. So a corner comes in, it's headed up, and Boateng just backheels it in. He's a centre-back, and he's just backheeled in an equaliser, and just... I mean, Sure, Boateng's a good player, but it's not like I'm playing with Thierry Henry circa 2002, am I? But tell you one player who could be considered as good as that is Lionel Messi, who I got in a draft squad when I entered the draft a short while back. I think I was playing with his hero card rather than his Team of the Year card, and he dribbles it past their entire defence, and then he just bangs it in, top corner, from a bizarre angle while he's running. I mean, that's just what Messi does. I can't really go into technical information too much about how he scored the goal, other than just saying Messi is Messi. That's just what he does for Barcelona week in, week out. And Argentina as well, to be fair. Lewandowski, of course, has been more consistent for me because he's been playing in my actual squad rather than the draft squad like Messi. But whenever I've gotten Messi, he has been amazing for me in the draft. This goal from Lewandowski, though, is just unbelievable. The ball comes to him just inside the penalty box, and he somehow twists his body while he's running on just one foot, and just hurls the ball with unbelievable technical accuracy into the back of the net. I don't know how he did it. I'm still baffled by how he did it. It's such an amazing goal. It's probably my favourite goal that I've scored this season. Although this goal from Aubameyang that again came out about 50 minutes later into this game does rival it. It's not my absolute favourite, but even still, boy is it something good. I mean, just look at that. The ball just fumbles around their defence. It's crappy defending from their centre-backs there. But how on earth have you let Aubameyang score a header? Aubameyang of all people. He's not exactly tall and strong, guys. Come on. Have some decency. But the last goal that I decided to show you guys is from one of the most underrated players in my team, I think. It's David Silva. He's still been given a really good rating on this FIFA, and rightfully so, because he's an amazing number 10. And this goal I scored in a game that I ended up winning only 1-0 was just unbelievable. The build-up is a bit more impressive in this one rather than the goal itself, but you'll see what I mean. Diego Costa is running forwards, and I'm getting a bit frustrated with the defence, so I just pass it through to Silva, and it just slices through their defence, and we end up winning 1-0. It was probably my favourite goal in terms of build-up. So, I mean, that's mainly pretty much all of the goals I scored this season that I thought were good enough to show to you guys in a video like this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the battlefield.